Yes, everyone, if you've been on Facebook, then you know probably seen at least one sponsored Kickstarter ad for the film we're reviewing today's episode. And they're trying to get it out into more theaters, and it got into a theater at the Midwest Weird Fest at the beginning of March, and it is called Villains Incorporated, directed by Jeremy Warner, giving us the story of three henchmen who are tired of being henchmen. They want to elevate their game. They want to become villains, just like those that they've served. But it is an uphill climb in this world they live in, especially when they don't have money. So they start taking odd jobs for villains to earn this money. And of course, those don't exactly go well. But when they pick up an intern named Alex, they have a breakthrough that might actually help them in their goal and elevate their game. But standing in their way is a villain named Sigma, who, when he discovers what these henchmen are doing, he comes up with his own nefarious plan to, destroy them and take what they have for himself. Villains Incorporated is like Austin Powers meets The Boys. It's got that maturity level of The Boys, not that extreme, but the tongue-in-cheek spirit of Austin Powers. And I loved that. I loved this quite a bit. Now, what made me initially want to watch it alone was Colin Mockery, because I've loved him since I've seen him in Whose Line Is It Anyway? Took me back to my own improv comedy days. And Colin is such a wonderful talent, and he's hilarious in here as Harold. Of the three henchmen, he's the one that's always most devout to whoever supervillain he is connected to it. And he's like completely in on that villain, and I love that character angle with him, and he plays it to a T, and it is just wonderful, and such great chemistry though with all three of our main henchmen. You've got Mallory Everton in here playing Beatrix, and she was wonderful too. She gets some great scenes in here, gets to be badass as well. There's a scene where she's trying out to be a villain, but she's like the only one who doesn't have superpowers, so there's that angle, you know. And then you got Jason Gray in here playing the Kane character. He's got this porn stash throughout the whole film. It's wild. It's almost its own character, but he is well too as the guy kind of in between, where Beatrix wants the full independence and Harold doesn't mind being subservient, and Kane's kind of in the middle. And the comedic timing between these three, they just fire off each other so well and really had the audience rolling. And then they add in Billy Mann's Alex, the intern. He adds a whole different level of humor here. And I really just appreciated all the layers and just the fun that they are having, making fun of superhero films in not necessarily a mean-spirited way, but just kind of showing some of the ridiculousness of it, and yet also putting a lot of thought into like this villains and the world that they built. I loved this world building that they do here for the villains and superheroes and the dynamic they have. There's a Superman type character that shows up in here that's just full of ego. It's like if the Duff guy in Simpsons had superpowers. It's kind of like that angle. So yeah, Sigma is played by Jeffrey Brian Davis, and he is Jeff Brian Davis, and he is having a blast as the villain Sigma. He's got a kind of a calm evilness to him, almost like an executive evilness to his character. And I thought that was an interesting angle, and really plays up to it. And everything is so much fun. The most outrageous one is probably the seagull. This guy. Oh man, just the concept of the character. But then Joe Beretta plays him to a T, and just, this mid-level type of gangster guy who has the Seagull moniker, and he keeps just, you have to see him to believe him, folks. And I think one of the side characters that I loved the most, though, out of all of these characters who I really enjoyed, was the Booker, played by Glozell Green. This character made so much fun. Every time the henchman tried to book a job, and the Booker would just, the look on their face, and everything about it was wonderful. Like they're tired of dealing with these minions all the time and exhausted by it, and you could feel that, and it's just done in such a comedic way. This is such a light-spirited film. That I think if you're a fan of comic book movies or just fan of any one of these people in this film, you'll want to see Villains Incorporated. It's worth a watch. It had the audience rolling that we were sitting and watching it in. Everybody was laughing at the right times, and yeah, it's a kind of a sweet story as well. So thank you so much, folks. Check out Villains Incorporated. Worth your time. Please subscribe and all that here. We got a lot more reviews coming. I thank you for your support. Support indie cinema, and yeah, keep that ticket stub.